This video is looking at attacking strategy and what does that actually mean. I've set up this simple visual for us if we're in the blue team. We've got a defensive 4, we've got a midfield 3. At the moment we've got 2 deeper players and we've got a forward 3. So when we talk about building strategies in terms of our attacking play, to simplify it, think about having 3 types of areas on the field, and that's from goal to goal. So you've got your central area and you've got your wide areas. Now these areas in the middle, we do work on 5 channels, but these areas in the middle here are transitional areas. People call them half spaces, but if you just think about simplifying it to having a central area and a wide area either side, and then when the ball or players are moving from wide to inside, they cross these inside zones, if you like. So now that we've established that we have 3 kind of key areas of the field in terms of our pitch geography and our pitch map, then the question then is, where are we playing the ball? Do we play it into the wide right area, the central area, or the wide left area? Now, when you're playing against a team and you're unsure at the very beginning of what that's going to look like, which is probably going to be standard across many games, think about what we have as a strength. So if we look at, in this situation, we have width, even though it's 2v2 on the wide areas. We always want to think about attacking areas. So we have a blue 7 on the right, blue 11 on the left. Initial strategy should always be, how can we get the ball to these players to see what the fullbacks are like? So as a test, you run 2 tests almost. Can we get it out to the right and the left, and we check which is working? Whichever one seems to be giving us the most advantage, that's the side that we continue to try and move the ball into, and that's can be dictated when we play out from the back. So important for the goalkeeper's perspective that if we do have a strategy where we feel that this area here and this player here is where we're getting an advantage, then when we're playing out from the back, we've got to consider why we would start the play in this side, regardless of how the opposition's set up. Remember, the opposition will want to try and stop us doing what we want to do. So it is going to be challenging. But we may consider that if this is the key area that we want to start with, then playing out from the back may look better starting down this side. So that's kind of the first point on that. So looking at these wide forwards, where's the advantage? Also checking, getting the ball into centre forward areas and checking what the central defenders are like. And as well, that means playing in front and in behind and seeing what works. So now we're looking at a situation of, we've talked about players directly, so getting it to individuals. Now we talk about, okay, what do these players here like doing or not like doing? Are they happy with the ball into feet and just protecting this area? Do they like the ball going in behind? Does that give us an advantage? And it all comes from the deeper players who need to make good decisions on their passes. So really important to think about this. Pass completion success is a negligible metric. It's the types of pass. So if a central defender picks the ball up in this area here and plays the ball over there and it causes problems, even if the ball goes out of play or they pick the ball up, that's a success. That's not a failure. That's success. So you got to recognize that by testing the opposition, the ball is not always going to be in your possession. But you've got to understand why you're doing that. We're testing something to see what the outcome is, and then does that inform us of a strategy? And when we talk about strategy, people think it's quite complex, when in real terms we're looking at this simplistically. So do we play right, do we play left, or can we play centrally? Now, if the opposite, then we have to consider if the opposition's shape informs us a little bit more about what our advantages might be. So we see in this instance that the opposition have a 4-4-2 formation. So playing out through central defenders might be challenging. Depending on the positions of the 7 and 11, there may be opportunities to play here if they're protecting these areas. But a real key thing here is we have a 3v2 overload. So when we do play out, it may go into central areas quicker because we know we have an extra player. And then does that inform us to be able to play through in central areas because of this overload that we have? So we're now not playing in the wide areas, we're actually penetrating through here. And then we get through this midfield zone, and then that's when the wide players can come inside the field ready to target themselves with runs towards goal. And then even going further, if we set the opposition up now in a diamond shape that's very narrow, but we have an underload now, we've got 3 against 4 in their favour, but we have space here. So we may be going wider quicker, or if it does come inside, it's going out quicker with limited touches because of the pressure in this area. So a few things within this video. Number one is within the example of the 4-3-3, can we get it to our wide attackers to test the fullbacks early? Does that inform us of where we want to play? Right, left, or into our centre forward in a central zone? Then we consider what the opposition setup is in terms of their structure. And do we have overloads in the middle area that might inform us to play centrally? And then equally, if that's not the case, then how do we utilise wide players, whether that's deeper players or higher players, to be able to move the ball from in to out? And then finally as well, from a deeper area, if we think about the opposition setup in their forward areas, if they have 1, then that affords the opportunity for one of our central defenders to possibly be that player that supports the space in these inside channels. Different if they have a front 2. So that's a little bit of a video about strategy, starting to think about what strategy means, consider the simplicity of right, central, left for your attacking play, and then learning what's working well, what's not working well, and then just changing what we may have to do and adapting or alternating between different areas based on that success and failure. And it all depends on how quickly the opposition can recover.